If you keep facing these struggles, you're being tested by Him. There comes a point in life where everything feels like it's collapsing. No matter how hard you try, no matter how much effort you put in, the struggles just keep coming. It's as if the universe itself is conspiring against you, throwing obstacle after obstacle in your path. You ask yourself, why me? Why does life keep testing me? But here's the truth: these struggles are not punishments. They are not random, and they are certainly not meaningless. They are a test from Him. I think about it. Every great transformation, every profound spiritual awakening has always been preceded by suffering. The strongest steel is forged in the hottest fires. The greatest souls are shaped by the deepest pain. If you're facing relentless struggles, it's not because you are cursed, it's because you are being prepared. But prepared for what? That is the real question.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
Most people crumble under pressure. They see hardship as a sign that they should give up, that they are not meant for greatness. But what if I told you that every struggle you face is a sign that you are being chosen? Chosen for something greater. Chosen for a purpose that you might not even understand yet. The truth is, Him, whether you call it God, the universe, or destiny, only tests those who have the potential to rise beyond the ordinary. But let's be honest. When you're in the middle of the storm, when your world is falling apart, this idea doesn't bring much comfort. It's easy to say this is just a test, but it's much harder to endure it. The pain is real. The suffering is real. The loneliness, the doubt, the fear, it all feels unbearable. So how do you survive it? How do you push forward when everything in you is screaming to stop? The first step is to change your perspective. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this trying to teach me? Every struggle carries a lesson. Every hardship is a message. If you ignore the lesson, the struggle will keep repeating. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to go through the same problems over and over again? They keep getting betrayed. They keep failing. They keep falling into the same toxic relationships. That's not coincidence. That's Him giving them the same test over and over until they finally learn. So look at your struggles right now. What patterns do you see? What pain keeps repeating in your life? Is it financial hardship? Is it heartbreak? Is it self-doubt? Whatever it is, ask yourself, what am I supposed to learn from this? Because until you learn, the test will not end. But let's go deeper. What if your struggles are not just about learning a lesson? What if they are about becoming someone new? The version of you that exists right now is not capable of handling the blessings that are meant for you. I think about that. If you were already the person you needed to be, you wouldn't be struggling. Your struggles are shaping you into the person who can handle what is coming next. Imagine you are meant to be a leader, to inspire millions, to change the world. But right now, you struggle with self-doubt. You fear judgment. You are too fragile. So Him puts you through a series of trials: betrayal, rejection, failure, not to break you, but to strengthen you. Each hardship is a lesson in resilience. Each betrayal teaches you who to trust. Each failure forces you to grow. Until one day you wake up and realize you have become unbreakable. But here's where most people fail the test. They resist. They fight against the pain. They refuse to grow. They cling to their old selves, refusing to change, and so they stay stuck. The struggles don't stop, but they also don't evolve. They remain trapped in suffering, never realizing that all they had to do was surrender to the process. Surrender does not mean giving up. It does not mean accepting defeat. It means embracing the struggle, trusting that it is leading you somewhere greater. It means looking at your pain and saying, I may not understand this now, but I trust that this is for my highest good. But let's test this idea. Think back to the hardest moment of your life, the time when you thought you wouldn't survive. The time when you were at rock bottom. Now, looking back, can you see how that moment shaped you? Can you see how it made you stronger, wiser, more resilient? If you had not gone through that, would you be the person you are today? Now, what if the struggle you are facing right now is doing the same thing? What if 5 years from now you will look back at this moment and realize it was the best thing that ever happened to you? This is the mindset of those who pass the test. They don't just endure struggles, they use them. They take the pain and turn it into power. They take the betrayals and turn them into wisdom. They take the failures and turn them into stepping stones. And this is where most people break. They let the pain consume them. They let the struggles make them bitter instead of better. They become victims instead of warriors. So the real question is, will you break or will you rise? If you're facing relentless struggles, if life keeps testing you, it's because you are meant for something greater. But the choice is yours. You can see your struggles as a curse, or you can see them as a gift. You can let them destroy you, or you can let them transform you. But before we move forward, I want to ask you something. What if everything you are going through right now is exactly what you need to become the person you were meant to be? The hidden message in every struggle: how to decode your spiritual test. Every struggle you face carries a message. It is not random. It is not meaningless suffering. If you look closely, if you truly pay attention, you will see that within every hardship, there is a hidden lesson, a whisper from Him, guiding you towards something greater. But the problem is, most people do not listen. They are too caught up in their pain, too focused on their suffering, to recognize the deeper meaning behind it. They ask, why is this happening to me? Instead of asking, what is this trying to teach me? And because they fail to decode the message, they remain trapped in the same struggles, repeating the same mistakes, living the same painful cycles over and over again. But what if you could learn to see your struggles differently? What if, instead of viewing them as obstacles, you saw them as instructions? What if every hardship was actually a message from Him, trying to show you exactly what you need to change, exactly what you need to become in order to step into your true destiny? The truth is, every major struggle in your life is connected to something you need to awaken within yourself. It is never just about the external situation, it is about what is happening within you. I think about someone who keeps facing financial hardship. No matter how hard they work, money always seems to slip through their fingers. They struggle, they stress, they feel stuck. But if they look deeper, they might realize that their struggle is not about money at all. It is about their mindset. It is about their relationship with abundance, their fears of not being enough, their subconscious beliefs that tell them they are not worthy of wealth. The financial struggle is simply a manifestation of a deeper spiritual lesson, a lesson they will keep facing until they finally learn it. Or consider someone who keeps experiencing heartbreak. Every relationship ends in pain. They are betrayed, abandoned, left feeling unworthy of love. They begin to believe that they are cursed, that love is not meant for them. But in reality, their struggle is not about relationships, it is about self-worth. It is about healing the wounds they have carried since childhood, the fears of not being enough, the tendency to seek love from others instead of finding it within themselves. And until they recognize this, until they learn to love themselves first, they will continue to attract the same painful relationships over and over again. This is the pattern of spiritual tests. They repeat until we learn. They intensify until we wake up. They do not stop simply because we wish them to stop. They stop when we finally understand them. So the real question is, what lesson is your struggle trying to teach you? What hidden message is Him trying to send you through your suffering? One of the most powerful ways to decode your struggles is to shift your perspective. Instead of reacting emotionally, take a step back. Observe your struggles as if you were an outsider looking at someone else's life. What patterns do you see? What lessons keep appearing? And most importantly, what are you resisting? Because here's the truth: what you resist the most is often exactly what you need to face. The fears you avoid, the truths you don't want to admit, the changes you refuse to make, these are the keys to your transformation. But here's where most people get stuck. They don't want to change. They want their situation to change, but they don't want to do the inner work required to change themselves. They pray for better relationships, but refuse to heal their wounds. They beg for financial success, but refuse to change their mindset about money. They ask for happiness, but hold on to the very things that make them suffer, and so they stay trapped. They keep failing the same test, never realizing that Him is not punishing them, He is waiting for them to evolve. This is why the struggles don't stop. This is why life keeps testing you. Because you are not meant to stay the same. You are meant to grow, to awaken, to step into a version of yourself that is stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your true purpose. But growth is uncomfortable. Evolution is painful. To become the person you are meant to be, you must let go of the person you used to be. And this is where most people break. They cling to their old identity, to their old fears, to their old limitations, refusing to surrender to the process. But what if you stopped resisting? What if, instead of fighting your struggles, you embraced them? What if, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you asked, "What is this trying to reveal to me?" Imagine how your life would change if you started looking at every hardship as a message, as a lesson, as a necessary step toward your highest self. Imagine how much peace you would feel if you truly trusted that every struggle is happening for you, not to you. Because here is the greatest secret of all. Once you learn the lesson, the struggle disappears. Once you understand the message, the test ends. The universe does not waste energy. Him does not place unnecessary suffering in your path. Everything you are going through is designed to shape you, to awaken you, to prepare you for what is coming next. But you must be willing to listen. You must be willing to see. So I ask you, what if your greatest struggle right now is actually the key to your greatest transformation? Breaking the cycle, how to pass the test and stop suffering repeatedly. Most people live their entire lives trapped in the same cycles of suffering. They keep facing the same struggles, the same disappointments, the same painful lessons over and over again. They change jobs, they change relationships, they change cities, but somehow the same problems follow them wherever they go. They think they are running away from their struggles, but in reality, they are running in circles. Because here's the truth: until you pass the test, it will keep repeating. Until you learn the lesson, life will keep bringing it back to you in different forms, through different people, through different situations, but always with the same core message. It's a pattern that is easy to see in others, but difficult to recognize in ourselves. You know that friend who always ends up in toxic relationships, no matter how many times they swear they've learned their lesson. You know that person who keeps struggling with money, always blaming bad luck, never realizing that their own habits and mindset are keeping them stuck. You know that person who keeps saying, "Why does this always happen to me?" never realizing that the common denominator in all their struggles is them. But what if you are doing the same thing? What if the struggles you keep facing are not happening to you, but because of you? What if the reason your suffering repeats is because you haven't truly changed? This is where most people get stuck. They think time will solve everything. They think if they just wait long enough, their problems will disappear. But time does not change you, intention does. Growth is not automatic. Just because years pass does not mean you are evolving. Look at your life right now. Are you still facing the same struggles you were dealing with 5 years ago? Are you still carrying the same fears, the same wounds, the same insecurities? If so, that is a sign that you have not yet passed the test. And until you do, life will keep bringing it back to you again and again until you finally wake up. So how do you break the cycle? How do you pass the test and stop suffering repeatedly? The first step is radical self-awareness. You have to stop blaming external circumstances and start looking inward. What patterns do you see in your struggles? What lessons have you been resisting? What fears have you been avoiding? The hardest thing to accept is that most of our suffering is self-created. Not because we want to suffer, but because we refuse to change. We hold on to the things that hurt us. We cling to our comfort zones, even when they are destroying us. We keep doing the same things while expecting different results. And until we take full responsibility for our own growth, nothing will change. But awareness alone is not enough. You must take action. You must actively choose to break the patterns that are keeping you stuck. This means doing the uncomfortable work of healing. It means facing your fears instead of running from them. It means letting go of toxic relationships, even if it feels painful. It means changing your mindset, even if it challenges everything you've believed. Growth is not easy. Transformation is not comfortable. But neither is staying stuck in the same suffering for the rest of your life. One of the most powerful ways to pass the test is to do what you've never done before. If you keep repeating the same struggles, it's because you keep responding to them in the same way. You keep choosing fear instead of faith. You keep choosing comfort instead of courage. You keep choosing the familiar, even when it is destroying you. But what if, for once, you chose differently? What if, instead of resisting change, you embraced it? What if, instead of running from your problems, you faced them head-on? What if, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you asked, "What is this teaching me, and how can I grow from it?" Many people think they are waiting for him to give them a breakthrough, to finally remove their struggles and bless them with peace. But what if he is waiting for them to become the person who no longer needs those struggles? What if the second you shift, the moment you truly evolve, your suffering will no longer have a purpose in your life and will naturally dissolve? This is the secret. Most people never realize your struggles end when you no longer need them to grow. I think about that for a moment. If every struggle is a lesson, then once you fully learn the lesson, there is no need for the struggle anymore. If every hardship is a test, then once you pass the test, you don't have to take it again. So what if the very thing you are praying for, peace, love, success, happiness, is already available to you, but you are the one blocking it by refusing to grow? What if him is not withholding your blessings, but rather waiting for you to become the person who is ready to receive them? The moment you truly commit to growth, everything shifts. The same lessons that once felt unbearable suddenly become clear and easy to navigate. The same struggles that once felt endless begin to fade away. Not because life stops testing you, but because you finally pass the test. And once you do, you unlock a new level of existence, a new reality where you are no longer controlled by your past, no longer haunted by the same pain, no longer stuck in the same cycles. But the choice is yours. You can keep repeating the same suffering, waiting for life to change while refusing to change yourself. Or you can decide, right now, that you are ready to evolve, that you are ready to break free, that you are ready to become the version of yourself that no longer needs to suffer to learn. The test will not take itself. The lesson will not learn itself. The change will not happen on its own. The only question that remains is, are you ready to finally pass the test? The reward for those who endure what awaits you after the test. Not everyone makes it through the test. Many give up. Many refuse to change. Many get lost in their suffering, never realizing they were only one breakthrough away from everything they ever wanted. But for those who endure, for those who refuse to stay stuck, for those who commit to growth, no matter how painful it gets, there is a reward waiting on the other side. A reward so profound, so life-altering, that once you receive it, you will look back at your struggles and realize they were never punishments. They were preparations. The first and most immediate reward is clarity. When you finally pass the test, the fog that once clouded your mind disappears. The confusion, the chaos, the endless questioning of why is this happening to me? All of it dissolves. You begin to see the bigger picture. You realize that every struggle, every heartbreak, every failure was guiding you towards something greater. You understand why certain people had to leave your life, why certain doors had to close, why certain dreams had to be delayed. You no longer resist the flow of life because you finally trust that everything is happening for you, not to you. And with this clarity comes a deep sense of peace. The kind of peace that no external circumstance can shake. The kind of peace that allows you to move through life with confidence, knowing that no matter what happens, you are exactly where you are meant to be. But beyond clarity, there is something even greater power. When you have endured the fire and come out the other side, you are no longer the same person. You are no longer fragile, no longer easily broken, no longer controlled by fear or doubt. You have faced your worst moments and survived. You have been tested and have proven yourself. And because of this, nothing can shake you anymore. The things that used to trigger you no longer have power over you. The fears that once held you back now seem small and insignificant. You move through life with a quiet, unshakable strength, knowing that if you could survive that, you can survive anything. With this strength comes a new level of freedom. You are no longer attached to things that once enslaved you. You no longer chase validation from others because you have found validation within yourself. You no longer fear losing people because you have learned that no one who is truly meant for you will ever leave. You no longer cling to comfort because you have realized that true growth only comes from discomfort. You become unstoppable. Not because life stops testing you, but because you have learned how to pass the tests with ease. And then, something truly magical happens. Doors begin to open. The opportunities you once struggled to find now seem to appear effortlessly. The relationships that once drained you are replaced by ones that nourish your soul. The things you once had to chase now come to you naturally. This is not coincidence. This is the universe responding to your growth. When you evolve, your reality evolves with you. When you pass the test, you unlock a new level of existence where the things that once seemed impossible now become inevitable. But perhaps the greatest reward of all is the realization that you were never alone. That Him, whether you call it God, the universe, or destiny, was always guiding you, always supporting you, always shaping you into the person you were meant to become. And in that moment you understand that the struggles were never meant to break you. They were meant to awaken you. They were meant to prepare you for the life that was always destined for you, but that you had to become ready to receive. So now, as you stand at this crossroads, ask yourself, are you willing to endure? Are you willing to embrace the struggles, knowing they are shaping you into someone unstoppable? Are you willing to trust that everything you are going through right now is leading you towards something greater? Because if you are, then know this: your reward is already waiting for you. You just have to become the person who is ready to claim it. And one day you will look back at this moment, at this test, and you will smile. Because you will realize that this was the exact moment when everything changed. This was the moment when you stopped seeing struggles as suffering and started seeing them as the path to your highest self. This was the moment when you finally decided to pass the test. And from that moment on, nothing in your life was ever the same again.